So, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. People don't do business with businesses. People do business with people. So who bought something recently where you had to have that know, like, and trust in order to buy or have that service, whatever you got? Who got something? What'd you get?
Actually, my mother-in-law, I'm working with a dealer that takes care of us. And she hasn't even seen the car, hasn't drove the car, but we trust him that much and promoting our Subaru that she's going to go take a look at it on Wednesday, basically buy it.
So you kind of did the what do you call it? The heads up kind of work ahead of time. So you have enough faith in this guy okay, and you know his name?
Yeah.
Okay, and that he's going to do the right thing for your mother-in-law? Mother-in-law, great. And so she trusts you enough to go buy the car. Is the car do you think you got the best deal for the car, or price-wise, what do you think?
Not because in Connecticut we got to pay a service fee, but we know that we take care of a decent price, so it's not probably not the best price out there, but we trust.
So there you go. So now you actually paid more for the car than you might have if you were shopping around more locally.
Or a private party.
Or whatever it is. So now that trust that you have with him is really the added value that what's his name? The dealer? Joe?
Yeah.
Joe. Okay. The added value that he brought to the table. And you're willing to not only trust him he's going to do the right job, but that you're going to pay more for it. That's how much faith you have in this guy. Right, exactly. So that's great. So now, the BNI system is set up, the system and culture is set up so that if you follow the rules, do all the right things, you're forced to build that know, like, and trust with other people, and business has to result. It just has to. And that's what we're here for. So the idea is follow the system, and you too will have that added value that Joe brought to the table with your not remember your name. Scott. With Scott. Okay, so that Joe brought to the table with Scott's transaction with the car. So there's three things we do in BNI to build that know, like, and trust. What are they? Don't everybody answer at once now. One-to-ones, that's one. Sales manager minute and spotlight presentation, right? So the sales manager minute is the ongoing kind of little snippets of things that you do. The 10-minute presentation is about the little ongoing education, some more interaction with the people in your chapter. But the one-to-one is really about relationships. And that's where, so when you don't know, like, and trust, you're building that relationship. So that's what the one-to-one meeting is all about. Oh, but wait, there's more. What's another thing that maybe builds that know, like, and trust?
Testimonial.
Yeah. And what's our motto? Giver's gain. So as you give, other people see that you're committed, that you're doing the right things, and that the business will come back to you. So that's part of that know, like, and trust is giver's gain too. So today we're going to talk about a new way to think about one-to-one meetings. And also the other thing we're going to do today is rebrand. So we're not going to call it dance card anymore. It's really one-to-one. So who knows where the term dance card came from?
It's a list of people you're going to dance with.
Exactly. And where'd that come from?
Socials, 18th century.
Yeah, it's like the 18th century in Europe, those big debutante balls and stuff. So the girls have all these frilly little booklets that, they write the guy's name in, and the guy's all hot to go, if he's on the list. So, but that's really not what we're doing. What we're doing is what? A one-to-one meeting. And we'll talk more about what we're going to use as a dance card a little bit later. So why'd you join BNI in the first place? Breakfast, okay. You getting good value for your money? What else? Why'd we join?
Grow business.
Grow business, which means... What was that again?
Make money.
Make money. Not just make money. Make money. We want boatloads of money. There's a train going across out there. Every train car is filled with $100 bills for you. If you could. Okay? That's what we've got to think about. So, but think about what has to happen. What has to happen for you to make money? Let's think about it. You do your Sales Manager Minute. Somebody has to be awake enough in the chapter to hear it and listen to it, understand what you're saying. Now, be in the situation that you're describing to another person. Talk to that person. That person has to be receptive enough to listen. They have to say receptive enough to talk to you. You have to go meet them, describe your business, whatever the transaction is, and they have to say yes and give you money. All the stars have to align. It's amazing that it happens at all. But the reality is, though, there's business out there, there's situations all around us all the time that are good referrals that could lead to business. The problem is you don't necessarily see it or recognize it, or if you see it and sort of recognize maybe this is a good spot, you don't know what to do about it. So it just filters away. So what we're going to do today is focus that down so you know exactly what you want to present for you, what you want to present to someone else to build the relationship so they know, so when they're out in the world, they recognize that they're in the situation that you're looking for. And you know what to do about it. That's what we're going to be doing today. So who sets BNI goals? What kind of goals do you set for BNI when you're in the chapter? Not chapter goals, but for you specifically. What kind of stuff do you do? Okay?
Number of new customers or a dollar goal, if that's...
So, well, not new customers necessarily, but that's really kind of a business goal for you, right? So you might say dollars you want to get this year from BNI referrals. Okay? It's another one. Where are all the stats?
Well, we had goals for the number of referrals to provide, the number of referrals that we would hope to receive.
Yep.
The number of one-to-ones we hope to do.
Yeah.
In a given period of time.
Right. Visitors.
Right.
Those kind of things. All right. So you got visitors, one-to-ones, dollars, all the other metrics that we actually look for ongoing. But really, those are all great goals and they're all good to do. The problem is most of them depend on somebody else doing something. So remember, look at that whole chain that had to happen for you to make money. That's a pretty big thing. A lot of stuff is out of your control. Visitors, you actually have to invite someone. Look at the whole process you're doing for the summer. That's a whole long process that's got to happen. And the visitor has to say yes and show up. A lot of stuff has to happen. The only thing you really have control over is the one-to-ones. If you're going to say, I want to do 2 one-to-ones a week, you can control that. You make the phone call. I mean, the other person's got to show up too, but at least you're initiating it. You don't have to depend on somebody else. So that's the only one goal that you can really do. This area, the Hudson Valley area, is one of the few places in the world, literally, where you can do a one-to-one meeting with somebody in another chapter. And it sounds crazy, right? Some of the background is that if you're doing a one-to-one meeting or trying to build a relationship with somebody in another chapter, it could almost be viewed as poaching. Right? You want to take business away from the other people in the other chapter. There is, as a good example, let me think of a good example. Like, let's say Brooks is doing photography, and she's doing photography, and I am in my chapter. There's also a photographer, but I come here. I really like Brooke. That's great. So I would say, I want to book Brooke to photograph my kid's wedding. Great. So on my chapter, however, what am I going to do? I'm not going to stand up and say, I have a referral for Brooke, because she's a photographer in the other chapter and she's really great. No, it's going to piss off the photographers in my chapter. Right. So you got to be, when you're doing, it's great to do one-to-ones with everybody, it's great to give business to to other people in other places. Just recognize that you're there to build the relationships with people in your own chapter first. Then build relationships in other chapters. But so now the same goes true if you're doing the one-to-one with someone in another chapter, and there's somebody in that chapter that does what you do. You have to assume that the person you're talking to has a relationship with that person that does what you do. Make sense? Because you don't want to step on anybody's toes. You're not trying to take business away. We're building relationships. And taking business away, that's like the opposite of building relationships. Right. So just be careful of that. I developed this form. Do you have the blank form? Did everybody get that email that I saw?
It was email. People should have had it.
Do you have it? Do you have it with everybody? Have it with you? Because I have some blank ones. If you don't. I also have. Did you see mine? Did mine get emailed to you at all? No. All right. So let me give you mine. Actually, give me one so I can go pass it and go refer to it. So this is a blank. So I developed this form with Glenn Chalmers. He's in, I think, the Leaders chapter in LaGrange, and Brian Wigden is over there. And I started this probably a little over a year ago, and I had been doing one-to-one meetings with people in other chapters, and it was fine. And then you have a nice conversation, you talk about you talk about sports or kids or the weather, a little about business maybe, and then you get up and walk away and you say, okay, now what am I supposed to do? And it was frustrating because I didn't know what to do and how to give, and I felt frustrated that I couldn't get across what I wanted to get across to them. I looked at there's a whole bunch of BNI forms and bio sheets and all kinds of other stuff, and I didn't like any of them. So I made my own. And what I did was I took snippets from all the other forms and some pieces that I put together that I felt was important and developed this form. And it's evolved a little bit over the last year or so. The idea is that this information on this form becomes the essence of you. Think of it as a networking resume. It talks about you and what you're looking for and how you help people. So let me go through it a little bit. It's divided into 5 parts. The first part is basic contact information on the top. So you got your name, phone number, email, that kind of stuff. The next thing is a little bit more personal about you. What's your burning desire? What's your key to success? Something nobody knows about me. A little bit more about you. Remember, people do business with people. So we want to know a little more about you. The next part is what you do, what problems you solve. Everybody in sales is a problem solver. Problems come up usually in transitions in people's lives for whatever reason. But here's what you do, what problems you solve, and also in this section, a little snippet about where's the added value. What do you bring to the table that other people don't or won't? Or where are you going above and beyond that really benefits the client you're looking for? That's part 2. So it's part 1 is the contact, part 2 is what you do, part 3 is gains. Right? We all know about the gains, the goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. So little snippets about those things. Now, here's the referral. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5? It's the what's a good referral? And as specific as you can. Like we always talk about being specific. This is more demographic. With that way. So what type of person, what type of business? If you have another list, if you're looking for John Smith at this company, that might be a separate sheet, not necessarily on this one, of being a specific referral you're looking for. The next piece is how to make that referral happen. How to recognize it, and what do you say to make that referral happen. So those are the 5 parts. And you see how that the beginning part is you as you, and the bottom part is make that referral happen. And a story at the bottom. What's a good success story for you? in general, now you've got this put together, and this takes a significant amount of time to put together. You can't do this in 5 minutes. What we're going to do today is just do little snippets of each thing, and we're going to go through that in a little while. When you're doing a one-to-one meeting with someone, plan on 90 minutes. Sounds like maybe a long time, but it really takes a good 45 minutes to really get through the information, get across what you do so that somebody else can absorb it, and then you want to hear what they have to say too. And then you can keep, I have a folder of these, I can keep all these, so you can refer back to it a little bit later. If your goal is to do 2 one-to-ones a week, maybe you ought to schedule 3 or 4. Because guess what happens? They cancel. Who's had a sales call that cancels? Yeah, so this is no different. Not everybody, you'll find out, fills out their form ahead of time. What I do in meeting someone is I'll email them my form filled out, and I send them a blank one. It says, here, fill this out as best you can, and when we meet, we'll have something to talk about. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And if they don't, what does that say? What it says is, if they don't even fill it out ahead of time, or even after the fact, sometimes I don't email it, or they don't get around to it. I mean, that's fine. We go through the process. I explain what I want to see from them, about them. I want to know about them. But if they don't send it to me later, what does that say? Either they don't know their business well enough to be able to fill this out in the first place. They don't value the actual meeting and building a relationship with you, or they're lousy time managers. Either way, I mean, no matter what the reason is, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if they're not going to take the effort to help you, to help them, do you want to do business with them? Maybe you really do. But just think about, there's a lot of things going on here about verifying and validating who you want to do business with. I'll pretty much meet with anybody. Really. I'll say I don't care, but I'll meet with pretty much anybody. I love everybody. I want to meet with everybody. I do a ton of referrals to people in other chapters. So I met this woman at a BNI event last year sometime. Actually, frankly, I don't even remember her name or where we met anymore. But it took a little while. I got a card. We emailed, called a little bit. And I said, okay, here's my form. Here's my networking resume. I want you fill this out as best you can and send it back to me. And, then we'll meet. And I get a reply back says, no. What do you mean, no? So, you don't have time, or what's the problem? No, we'll meet, but I don't do forms. I don't want to fill it out. So I could feel, you could feel the negative energy coming through the email. And I say, but how can I help you if I don't know what you're looking for? She says, nah, I'll meet with you anyway, but I don't want to do the form. So I said, but look, so first of all, I thought to myself, I'll meet with anybody, but I'm not meeting with her. If you're not taking the time to do the effort to help me to help you, why should I take the effort to come and meet you? That's plenty of people who love me. I don't need your validation in a meeting for that. So I said, okay, no form, no meeting. She says, okay. That was the end of that. So I don't know if she's in BNI anymore. I don't know anything about it. So, and even if I ran into her again, I'm not sure I would recognize her, to tell you the truth. So this form also is dynamic, because it really can change quite a bit. For Brooke, for example, if you're looking for a bar mitzvah parent to do bar mitzvah, that's maybe one kind of referral you're looking for. If it's for a wedding, that may be another kind of referral you're looking for. On my form, I listed the kinds of people I'm looking for as clients, referral sources. I do financial seminars, and team members. So I'm looking for a variety of things. If you can identify those couple things on the one form, that's great. And then just explain where that's all coming from. Also, if you're maybe a landscaper, you might be looking for plantings and stuff in the spring, maybe snow plowing in the winter. If you have a new product or service that comes on, that you get, that's great. Add it to the form, and now you got something new to talk about. So you can kind of think about that in that sort of way. Okay, so now we're going to do it. So what we're going to do is pair. So everybody's got a blank. Some of you, like Susan maybe, has filled out some of it ahead of time. So you did yours. Did anybody actually have yours sort of started? Mike? Okay, good. Oh, great. That's great. So now, what we want to do is pair up with somebody next to you. And so we can kind of go around right? Are you kind of paired up? Is it going to work out evenly, or if it doesn't, that's okay?
I just did it mentally before. Yep, it's perfect.
Oh, good. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through each piece one section at a time and just put a little snippet on there. So put in, for the first part, put in your basic contact information on the top. You don't have to, this form, when you download it, is a fill-inable Word document. So that you can do that, you do it real neatly later. Now you can just scribble, just so you know what we're talking about. So the top part, just put your name and phone number and that kind of stuff. But then more important, though, is fill in the next part. Spouse, kids, pets, burning desire, key to success, something nobody knows about me. Fill in a couple of those. We'll give you just a minute or two to do that.
I know, it's true. I had a really good one that everybody knows now.
So on mine, while you're doing that, I'll just tell you a little about mine. So one of the things people don't know about me, or they know now because I've been writing this down for a year, is I ran in the Marine Corps Marathon in 1980. Shows you how old I am. And I was never a Marine. They just let anybody run it, actually. And then I was also on my college sailing team. And we won the Middle Atlantic Intercollegiate Sailing Championship in the year that I was on there. I had a little bit to do with it, but not that I was the champion sailor or anything. But it was a great experience. I also talk a little bit about cycling with people, about some of the things that I like to do. I've had whole conversations with people about cycling and sailing. We never got into the business part. We had to reschedule the whole meeting again. So, and by knowing you as you, your interests, knowing about you as you, not you as the business person, it builds even a tighter relationship. And at first I wasn't so sure that this was important, but the more I do it, the more it really is important. It's almost more important than the business stuff. So, okay, so now I see not too many people writing. Share that with your sheet with the person next to you when you get a chance there. Right. So what we want to do is to see. So what we want to know is, for your partner, what did you just learn about them that you didn't know before? Okay. All right, let's come back. All right, who learned something new about that person next to you? Okay, Mike, what'd you learn about Hernan? All right, everybody, wait, come on.
What I learned specifically was that Hernan would like to be able to have the time, to be able to be financially independent enough to be able to have the time to be able to devote to volunteers and helping people out.
Great. So he wants to volunteer. Where would you volunteer?
Orphans.
Really? Oh, very cool.
Well, the children's
Great. Oh, that's a great thing. Okay. Anybody else? Who's got something you learned something new? Nobody? You knew everything there was to know about everybody else? So, Susan.
Scott would like to tour the underground Disney World.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I've never done that. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Anybody else? Let's do one more. Okay, Dave and James.
Found out that Dave actually played on the PGA Tour.
Whoa!
2009 U.S. Open.
Very good. Very good. There you sit there. That's cool. Very good. Very good. So those are kind of fun things that you learn about somebody that you didn't know before. So even just that simple fact, you feel a little tighter. All right, let's go on to the next one. The problems you solve, what you do, and not in a business sense, but, I help people with mortgages. I do send out cards. What do you do, but what is the problem that you're solving for somebody? Where's not just a list of benefits, how does the person, the referral you're looking for, feel or do or act? What's the value that you bring to the table after that? So in landscaping, you might not that you put plants in and make your yard look nice, but how does the homeowner feel? They're proud of their home. They want to show it off. It's those. There's the value, right? How's this working out so far?
Yeah, it's fine.
Good. Okay. Let's come on back. All right, let's find out what do you do in evaluate? Okay, Aaron, what do you do? What problem do you solve?
We solve the problem of relationship.
Okay.
Bring people, acknowledging people, both in business and in personal situation. But at the end of the day, it's about what our service does. Is it's about the result of how you help making somebody feel.
So you really make people feel good.
So it's whether you want to thank a customer or you want to thank somebody you love, it doesn't matter. That's the problem we solve, is helping people do that.
Okay, that's good. That sounds good. That's good. I forgot your name. Sorry.
No.
Joe. Okay. So what do you do? I didn't remember what even your profession was in the first place.
Eagle Eye Home Watch.
Oh.
Eagle Eye Home Watch.
Okay. And which is?
Basically, it's when you're away from your home, if you're a snowbird, you're on vacation.
Oh, okay.
Or you have business out of state for a short period of time. I'll come in, I'll watch your home, make sure that there's nothing wrong with the house while you're away. Summertime, and make sure the air conditioning.
Oh, okay, house. Okay, great. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so there's that list of sort of benefits. Okay, so now, if I'm going away to Florida, wherever, what problem are you solving for me? How can you make me feel better?
Well, basically, our motto is we're there when you're not. So we'll take on the responsibility of your home to make sure that everything is kept the way you want it kept.
Right.
So it's the summertime, your lawn's being serviced by someone, and I come to the house and I see your lawn 6 inches high. I'm going to give you a call, how it is, and I just at your house, and the lawn service is
not coming. Okay.
Just want to let you know, and I'll take a picture of it and send it to you.
Oh.
On my phone, so it's kind of easy.
Okay.
But you have to provide me with a lot of...
Whatever it is ahead of time. Sure. Sure.
And I'll show you what's going on with your house.
Okay. And you check up periodically.
It would be based on what you want.
How often you want to go over.
All
right.
Weekly basis, bi-weekly, daily, whatever you want.
So what am I getting out of that service?
Peace of mind.
Exactly. That's the kind of thing you have to write down. That's, I'll watch your house, make sure the grass is cut. No. I want peace of mind that my house is going to be there when I come back. If not the same, better than when I left it. Right? Exactly. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Who else? Anybody else share what you got, and then we'll pick it apart. Okay, Dave, what do you got?
I work on a daily basis. I try and locate a person's area of discomfort and what's causing that.
Okay, sounds like I'm not sure. So, I'm going to be laying naked on your table. So that's an issue in the first place. And so now, how am I going to? What are you going to do? Why should I come to you? Suppose I don't have any discomfort.
It may just be your everyday routine, stress. You're looking for a little bit of relaxation.
Anybody else want to add into that? How can we flesh that out a little more?
Well, it's the person's well-being. Just to be able to feel better when you leave than when you arrive. More whole, just better able to take on the world.
It's like an hour vacation.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing's going on. The phone's off. In fact, I even talked to him before. So, do we talk during this thing or not? Because I've been to some places where they don't want you to talk because they want that absolute quiet and not thinking about anything. So we got to flesh that out a little more and make it more enticing for somebody to come. Like, what am I really going to get out of it? And for you, it might be a little hard because it's actually an experience. You're actually touching people. So that's the you have to experience your service in order to really get the real value from it. There's a woman I know actually who organizes the cyclability bike ride I do for Special Olympics. She won't get a massage because she's embarrassed about being naked on a table. So now, how are we going to overcome that? She's pretty stressful in the first place. How can we actually, not that we talked about her being naked on a table, but we had, at the ride we did a couple of weeks ago, they provide massage therapists for you. And you don't have to be like totally naked. But she mentioned that. She says, I won't get one because no matter who's doing it, a guy or a woman doing the massaging. How are we going to overcome that so she can get the benefit from that? I don't know exactly, but...
We offer an Eastern modality called shiatsu, where you actually leave your clothes on, and it's just range of motion and stretching.
So there you go. So there's baby steps. Exactly. So there's a couple of issues that can come up. I also want to point out that the things on this form really become the talking points of what your one-to-one meeting is about. You're not writing whole paragraphs here. They're just snippets. And it's enough to entice somebody to want to know more about you, and so you remember what you're all about anyway. Right? Okay, so let's move on to the next couple things. The gains part, we don't have to do all of the gains. You've done. By the way, did you realize that, how many of you filled out your the profile on the BNI website? Good. Does this look familiar? This is almost word for word exactly what's on that profile on the BNI website. And I want you to know, I did it first. So, this came out before the BNI website did. Not that they copied me necessarily, but we figured it out at the same time. So let's do, fill out your interest is kind of like burning desires, but let's say accomplishments. Fill out what are you proud of? What have you accomplished? Either business-wise or personal. Put that on your form, and then share that with the person next to you.
In some ways, they're
How are you guys doing?
We're doing all right.
All right, good. I'm going to hit you guys up first.
I guess you're doing the same thing. You are directly helping people.
Right.
And just like with this referral that I gave you, I don't know how that's going to pan out. I think he just wants to get out of the house, but he wanted
Stepdaughter Lana was with us. She was the one that back in the beginning of June or something. It was in Orange County someplace.
Okay, let's see what you got now. Okay, what do we have for goals? Who wants to share? Okay, come on back. What? So now, the person that your partner, what's an accomplishment that they have you didn't know about that they had? What do you know about James?
He started as a teller, and within a year and a half, he's promoted to branch manager.
Whoa, that's big time. Okay, that's pretty good accomplishment. Anybody else?
Well, Mike stayed in his line of work for over 30 years.
Well, okay, good. Very good. What do you do, Mike?
I'm in building business.
Okay, that's a pretty big accomplishment in the last 5 years, even, right? Okay.
Been scrambling the last 5 years.
Okay, but good. That's pretty good. All right.
Especially when they're the first-time home buyers, and then seeing the satisfaction at the end when they're happy and they have a house and they're starting their whole life.
Okay, good. So that's why you're in business in the first place. Is there any specific accomplishment, Vinny, that you got? Did you sell $1 bazillion worth of houses, or?
That's the goal. We're listing right now at $3,700,000.
Nice. Okay. That'd be good. That wouldn't be bad. Okay. All right. What is one of Bob's accomplishments that he did?
Well, one of his accomplishments, one of the reasons why he wanted here last week, the week before, arraignments.
What?
Arraignments. He benefits people by getting some of these people off the street.
That's why I was late today. I had a call at 1:45 in the morning.
Oh my God.
About a guy that I bet what we call an arrest warrant. They didn't show up to court, so they had an arrest warrant. So they had called me at 1:45.
So you had to actually show up at the court and get...
Well, I didn't go. Well, what the problem is, it was not a serious crime, so I gave him another chance.
Oh.
Told him to show up to court my next court date rather than set bail and put the guy in jail. That's what they wanted, but I didn't think it was worth it. The charges, he had a suspension on his license and he drove a car.
Oh.
We didn't know, and so I didn't think putting him in jail
was going to help him any. It was going to help anybody.
He's only 21.
Oh, okay. So, all right, so that's good. So those are some of those accomplishments. I don't know if I would call accomplishments. Maybe, getting lots of people off the streets. That's the thing. To help the rest of us out. So that's pretty good. So anyway, these kind of things build that kind of know, like, and trust. So you can fill out the rest of the gains later. We'll move on to the specific businesses and clients you're looking for. So on my sheet, for example, what I listed into, just to give you an example for me. So think of this kind of example. How does this apply to you? So I'm looking for, the first one is, I'm looking for 4 things, right? Clients. I do financial seminars, referral sources I'm looking for, and team members. So let's just talk about the clients for a minute. It's a demographic. What this should be either is a kind of demographic that you're looking for. So I have Gen Y. So what is that? A married couple, 25 to 40. I'm a financial advisor, if you didn't realize that. 25 to 40, married, own their house, live in the area a couple of years, making some decent money. Have kids or don't have kids. Either have a house or want one. Have kids or want kids. I can't help with that a whole lot. And are making some decent money. Not minimum wage, on welfare and stuff. So why this group? This group, because if you picture a young family, they're out of their parents' house for a little while. The pain of paying the bills is maybe slap them around a little bit. Whatever job they have is who knows how secure. The economy's in the toilet. They may be more open to hearing some advice. So what I can do is, we have what we call a financial needs analysis report. We collect a whole bunch of information about them, give them a snapshot of where they are now. But more important, I want to know, what do they want? Where do they see themselves, and where would they like to see themselves in 5, 10, 20 years? And then we put together a plan of what to do next. And they're young enough to where we can put a plan and they can actually do it, and they can live happily ever after. If somebody is 55 or 60 and has a big mortgage and a lot of debt and all kinds of other stuff going on, there's less options that we can work with. So that's why I can make a bigger impact on somebody who's young. Not only can I make a bigger impact on their life now, but on future generations for them. If they get off on the right track, that just multiplies out to their kids and grandchildren later on, when I'm long gone. So that's the kind. So that's okay. Now we'll come back to them. So that's why this generation. So remember, in the Spotlight training, or even the Sales Manager Minute training, when you're communicating with someone, you want to get across what you want to say. This is what I want you to know about me. But why? Here's why I want you to know that. So when you know the why, it makes a lot more sense for what to do next. So that's for me. So that was one example for me. So how does this apply to you? What are you looking for? What's that narrow referral demographic that you want? Okay, do that one, and then we'll come back to that in a minute or two. James and Dave here for a minute. So, James, let's do you first. What are you looking for? What's your referral?
One good industry that I've been working with a lot lately is landscapers, specifically landscapers in Dutchess County, this area. I do a range from small, little, 3 to 4 person operations, all the way up to people who gross $5+ million. But really, the area where I find that there's the most opportunity for growth is the smaller landscaper, somebody who, just took out a few more lawns, a few more properties to maintain. That they're always constant need for new equipment, new vehicles, stuff like that. So those kind of relationships are always ongoing.
Okay, good. So where we started with that was, I'm looking for a business in Dutchess, Orange, and Ulster County. I said, okay. Actually, I think we didn't even start with geographic stuff yet. Yeah, right. It's just a bit. Yeah, we're looking for a business. Okay, let's narrow it down a little bit. So we narrowed it down to Dutchess, Orange, and Ulster. Then we narrowed it down to, okay, let's pick an industry or a type of business we're looking for. And he said, okay, first thing, we're not doing hospitality, restaurant, hotels, and stuff. So, okay, we're narrowing it down. And then I asked, what have you done work for recently? What can we? So then he talked about landscapers. So okay, let's narrow that down. $5 million or $20,000? What kind of volume of landscape we're talking about? So now he says, okay, the biggest impact he can make is on a small landscape. So that's great. Okay, so now we narrow down from. So think about what you're looking for. What kind of business you wrote down? How can we narrow it down to something that's manageable and recognizable for you? So when you're out there looking for it. Okay, so Dave, what did we start with you?
We started with, I said, everyone.
Everyone. Yeah, you go. Okay, that's a little broad. That's a little broad. Okay, and then where'd we go from there?
We went from there. We finally got down to athletes, big demographic. So somebody who's very active.
Okay, and then we kept going. What kind of athlete?
Oh,
golfer. He's a golfer. What kind of? It's an excellent place to have a connection with. He already has a rapport with golf. He always has that experience already. And then, okay, so that's really good. Scott, we said, where did we start with you? I forget where we started. Oh, right. So the same kind of young family, but they would be maybe moving into the area. So that's actually going to be the next step we're going to talk about. And Susan, mobile, you talked about mobile responsive websites. Right. So, but I think I asked, what kind of business uses mobile websites more than others? So,
hospitality and travel.
And right, so totally the opposite of what James is looking for, but that's okay. So travel, restaurants, right? Where's the nearest sushi place is what I'm looking for. Right. So that's the kind of business you're looking for. Okay, great. Anybody else that I didn't talk to before? I want to make sure we got anything else you're looking for? Who wants to share what you're looking for? Come on, you're supposed to write something down.
Really? I have to pick on my mentees.
Literally.
What do you do? First of all, tell me what you do.
I clean HVAC duct systems and dryer vents. So literally, anybody who owns a dryer or has forced air, that is it.
Okay. All right.
Geography.
Travel.
What are the easiest sells out of that?
The easiest sells?
Dryer vent?
No, I mean, how is it? What's your typical customer look like? They own 3 dryers? Or they own
laundromat?
One to many. Every year.
All right, so let's kind of go with that. So somebody who has hot air or air conditioning too, right?
AC.
Right. So it's okay. Yeah, like this stuff. Okay, or dryers because it's still a vent. So it's air going through pipes. That's kind of what you're looking for. All right. Let's take that to the next step here, though. So that's not. I'd say it's a little broad, but
it's unfortunately it is very broad.
But we'll narrow it down in the next step. Okay. So now we've got some kind of demographic that we're looking for. People who have air pipes in their house, restaurants, golfers. Okay. Now the next step is how are we going to recognize that? How to recognize this person, this referral, who needs my business now. So for me, if we look at mine, so remember I'm looking for that young family. And think of it this way. You remember VATGO from the Spotlight training? Visual, auditory, tactile, gustatory, and olfactory. So what do you see? What do you hear? What do you touch? What do you smell? And what do you taste? I don't know if you're going to smell or taste things, but you might smell nasty dryer vents or something. Right? No, you won't? Okay.
Most of the time when they're dirty, your clothes are dry, right?
Okay.
You gotta listen to sit down.
But if there's mold going through these air conditioning vents, do you smell it?
That's something you'll breathe in.
So you can.
They only won't smell it.
But if you do smell it, that's really then you're really
feel well.
All right. So maybe all right. So I'm just trying to find those senses. How are we going to use those senses? But that's okay. So anyway, so in your business now, picture this demographic you're looking for. How are you going to recognize? You can recognize the referral. How can you tell somebody else to recognize it? So for me, what are they saying? The young family. They're talking about paying the bills, paying their taxes, just had a baby, just bought a house. Major financial changes are happening in their life. So we got to talk about those finances now. That's what we're looking for. So for you, what is there for you? How to recognize that. So for Brooke, maybe I don't know, what was the thing you were looking for? Brooke, what's your...
I was looking for marketing directors, human relationship directors, HR people at legal and accounting firms.
Okay. So, and why? Oh.
For headshots?
Headshots and stuff. Okay.
Promo.
All right.
Marketing pieces, web photos.
So now, how would we recognize that person? How would we? So if I run into this demographic, what are they saying, doing, smelling, tasting that I would say, oh, you got to talk to Brooke?
They're talking about new hires. They're talking about business expansion. They're talking about maybe a trade show booth.
Okay. All right. Good. So now take a minute or two, fill that out for you. How to recognize that demographic that you were looking for before? What are they saying, doing, smelling, tasting? And then we'll come back to that.